Welcome to Lift Your Legacy. My name is Jacob Rupp, father, husband, and rabbi. And each week we bring you an inspiring person or message to help you unlock your inner potential and create change that will impact the future. Thank you for listening, and let's get to it.
I'm so thrilled to have today Barry Shore, dear friend of mine, Friam Shore, who is an absolute pioneer and genius in the space of joy, the space of stress reduction, and how to live a more meaningful, happy life. And he's one of the few guests who I've had the privilege of having twice now on the podcast. And this is such an important episode for you to listen to and hopefully enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, Lift Your Legacy is committed to helping you live a more authentic and meaningful life. That being said, if I could ask you to share this podcast with someone that you think would get value from the message, that would be fantastic. In addition, I wanted to make you aware that along with the podcast, I do offer executive coaching. I help people who are successful and highly motivated, who want to see extreme, or not even so extreme, maybe just a small change that in their life. I want to help them get to the next level. What does that mean specifically? Creating more peace in your relationships with yourself, growing your business, clarifying your career. And even if you need a little bit of help losing some weight or getting more healthy, I do that also. I'm not for everyone, but for those people that are invested in making their life better and taking the next step, I highly recommend you consider me as a coach for you. Now, how do you get in touch? Well, you found the podcast. I wanted to tell you also my email, Jacob, my first name, jacob@liftyourlegacy.live. Feel free, please, to reach out there or on any or all of my social media channels. I'd be thrilled to give you a complimentary half an hour conversation to see if we might be a good fit to work together. And now, with no further ado, I ask you to please sit back and enjoy the show. I am thrilled to have back on a dear friend of mine, Friam Shore. He has already been since speaking to me, probably because of our interview, was recently featured on Jack Canfield's show. They picked him up after listening to our podcast, clearly, but has built a beautiful platform of information that has been so widely distributed in the world today. One of the premier mindset changing opportunities, courses, whatever you want to call it. And I want to, first of all, if anyone hasn't heard the first episode, I want to cite you back there. And I will put that initial thing in the notes. But I'm thrilled to have back on Friam Shore. And I wanted, I guess, to start off, you asked what the point of the call was. And I think there's one of the biggest challenges of the modern day is that there is an endless amount of information. It's like, a rabbi of mine, Rabbi Beryl Wine, would talk about how his dad had to go memorize like one volume of the Talmud so that he could come back and teach everybody back in like Poland, 100 years ago. And nowadays it's like, not only does everybody have a copy of the Talmud, but they have 10,000 options online. And so it's like, there's no excuse. And the same is true in the self-help and the mindset world. It's like, you can never say, I don't know how to be happy again, because like literally type in at YouTube, how to be happy, and you'll get the phone book. So in one respect, we've never been wealthier when it comes to information. On the other hand, we've never seen such a tremendously high amount of suffering and negativity and negative mindsets and all those kinds of things. And what was compelling about Friam's story, besides the fact that he was able to essentially heal himself from absolute paralysis based on the power of his mind, is that so many of us don't have these kind of, thank God, crippling diseases or, horrible things that happen to us that really force us to face the big questions of life. Like, what am I doing here? And what's my life going to be worth? So how does a person who is sort of the product of all of the blessings of modern times really start to take that first step and start to live a better life, even if they haven't hit rock bottom?
First of all, Jacob, what a delight, honor, privilege, pleasure to be here. And to all those listening, those tens of thousands, and God willing, those people will share, it'll be hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. And remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. That's a good-looking person. Looking for and finding the good. Oh, let's riff. I'll take off just what you mentioned here. In my humble opinion, we live in an age called milk. M-I-L-K. Milk. More information, less knowledge. Overwhelmed by information. Drowning in milk. Less knowledge. Knowledge enables one to begin to separate the wheat from the chaff, the important for the less important. And you're right, I'll just briefly tell the story. So here I am, Ephraim Shore, beautiful tan, nice beard, opening my arms wide, big smile on my face. 15 years ago, it was actually September 17th, 2004. And since our audience is mostly Jewish and oriented towards our world, I can say this, it was the second day of Rosh Hashanah that particular year. And that year it was Thursday and Friday, leading into Shabbos. Second day of Rosh Hashanah, Erev Shabbos. I'm standing up in the morning in shul, just like I hope 99.99% of people here, because that's what people do. Jews, no matter who you are, what you are, Rosh Hashanah, you go someplace, you do something, come home, standing up, full of vigor, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, listen to the shofar, faster than a speeding bullet if I could do it on Rosh Hashanah. That night, Erev Shabbos, brought to the hospital, paralyzed completely from my neck down. I became, in a matter of hours, what's called a quadriplegic. Nothing on my body moved. As my doctor wants to say to anybody who will listen to him, when I first met Barry Shore, all he could do was move his mouth. Nothing on the body moved, matter of hours, not from an automobile accident, obviously, not from a spinal injury. It was a rare disease, which happens to be called Guillain-Barre syndrome, GBS for the cognoscenti, also known as French polio. Didn't even know it existed. And now I'm in the hospital, paralyzed. So back in the baseball card statistics, I'm in a hospital 4.5 months. I'm in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't turn over by myself. 4 years in wheelchair. You see my fingers don't even still work 15 years later. That's okay. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, from my hips to my ankles for 1.5 years, and that was progress. I am now, thank God, able to be vertical and ambulatory, albeit with the help of a 6.5-foot walking wand made for me by a Zen master. I might actually ask my assistant to bring it in just to prove to you what it is. And I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, because I can't do a lot of things. I still can't walk up a stair by myself or a curb, and I can't sit up from this chair. I could do this all day. Nothing's going to happen. And I can push and pull and all kinds of, finally get up, and my arms work. My hands work, and in the course of becoming more capable, I learned how to swim, Jacob. Why? Because when we're doing exercises, again, over years, they put me in the water. It's called aquatic therapy. Now here, I'm in Southern California, outdoors, all year round, in a warm pool. And moving things, I was able to learn how to swim again. Wow. Now again, albeit it took years of moving arms overhead and such, and then I'm able to be on my tummy with a snorkel and paddles, because I can't, my hands don't push the water. And I have floaties on my legs so they don't sink and drag me down. But I learned, and I now swim, da-da-da-da, drum roll, fanfare, da-da, 2, okay, you'll trust me, 2 miles a day.
Wow.
6 days a week.
Crazy.
And in the past 12 years, I've accumulated over 7,463 miles, which is where you're in Minneapolis. So from Minneapolis, it's swimming to New York, from New York across the Atlantic, through the Straits of Gibraltar, across the Mediterranean, up to Jerusalem. Okay. Now, given that story, that framework, the basic question is, what? Come on, paralyzed? What are you talking about? Nobody gets that in an instant. And now look at you. Not only are you happy and full of joy, but transformed the being so that I became, and trying to be still, a conduit of goodness, a cog. Now, most people think of a cog as a little piece in a big machine, right? When you are in the mindset of life, which of course stands for living for eternity, that's what life is all about. And you're in the living on the vibrational plane, which is love, living on vibrating energy. Then what happens is the cog is not a small thing. It's a channel of goodness, a child of God. And as my teacher in college taught us when I took acting classes, there are no small parts, just small players. So now let's go back to your premise. Wow, we are overcome by so much information, but knowledge is not something readily available. You have to sift through a lot. And here where it gets really important and powerful, I'm going to say the 4 Ps.
Okay.
The 4 Ps in every human being. You have a positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant essence. To be able to find your positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant essence takes work. So the key of all of life is one word: action. Action. Maaseh. Doing is even greater than knowing. Information in and of itself is just that, it's data. Knowledge brings you to a point of confronting the data and saying, okay, now that I have this knowledge, what should I do? Doing is the key. And that's why, well, we built on my site, which is called barryshore.com, BARRYSHORE, barryshore.com, and Jacob's going to put it up there on the screen, all kinds of wonderful things. We have built something that is so powerful, so wonderful, so purposeful, so pleasant, that I urge everybody, it's my gift to the world. It's called the 11 Strategies for Living in Joy Daily. And guess what, Jacob? It's free. Free, free, or your money cheerfully refunded. Free. You'll see each strategy. You'll have 3-minute video of me detailing it, and I give a practice, a tip, or a tool in each one. And they are built on the 4 Ps: positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, because that's the essence of you. When you want to become the best you possible, guess what? You make a difference in the world. You can go mad. Barry Shore went mad. He was a quadriplegic. He went mad. Now, most people think mad. Oh my gosh, what's going on? I understood. I can go make a difference. I asked the good Lord, Ole, I'm laying here on a gurney. I can't move a thing. Can barely speak above a whisper. What do you want? What can I do? What's my purpose? Enable me to be we'll call a nachal. Novea Chaim Lakol. Nachal is a river. That's what we are. We're all rivers, because rivers are wonderful. They're nourishing. Whether you drink from it or it comes to enable trees and plants to grow, it helps everything. That's what each one of us is. We all want to do that, Jacob. Every human being you meet really wants to be that nachal, that river of goodness. That's what everybody's looking to do. So what stops anybody? That's our question, right? If you go now to barryshore.com and you click on the 11 Strategies for Living in Joy Daily, and it's free, and you go through them, you will find one of them that will touch you, and you will act on it. And when you act on something small, it will grow, because every action is a seed. And that seed will continue to grow and germinate, and you will want to do more. That's the genius of living life well. How's that for an answer, a beginning answer?
It's great. So the idea is ultimately, the idea is ultimately that a person who, it's interesting. I spoke to a psychologist that specialized in trauma, and she was from Southern California. So, she has all of the opportunities to deal with all like the mass shootings and, catastrophes. I don't know why I'm smiling when I say this. But what was really fascinating was she was basically saying that to the extent to which you feel emotionally, you feel it emotionally, and you're speaking about things that happen in your life, and it makes you feel not good. That's an indication that there's kind of, there's still some stuff that you have to work through. And what I'm hearing from you that I'm just kind of tacking onto that is that if a person has a sense that they're not living the life that they want, and I think that that's something that's so endemic in the life that most people are living, is like most people just think feeling bad is part of life. And
no, I can't.
Right?
No offense, but it's hard for me to even hear the words.
No, I'm saying that's the point. I mean, I remember hearing it was I don't know. You bring out the Jewish stuff in me, but I remember there's a famous concept that I think that Maimonides speaks about, that the world as it is, it's like we live in a hospital, and we're so used to seeing brokenness and suffering that we think that that's part of life. And I think the same thing is true, that most people are sort of slogging through life and not feeling that kind of thing. And so when a person looks within themselves and says, I don't think I'm like as happy as I could be, then that's kind of like that emotional trigger. Okay, so let me go out. It's like, I don't have to hit rock bottom, but I certainly shouldn't accept that this is how people have to live. Like if that's what you want to do, then great. But it's like there's an alternative way of living this way with joy, like you said.
Joy.
And I could live that way if I want to. And then the strategies come into how to live that way.
So let's move on that. One of the 11 strategies is choice, not chance, determines my destiny. Choice, not chance, determines my destiny. I choose, first of all, my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. It literally begins in the mind, and it works with words. So we work on 3 principles. Whenever I do, I have a podcast as well called The Joy of Living. And you can hear it just go in all those places, iTunes, Google, iHeart, wherever it is. It's a great podcast. People love it. We have, thank God, 1 million downloads in less than a year. Wow. Because people are gravitating and are attracted to this. Does it mean that everybody's going to be like Barry Shore? No, we don't want Barry Shores in the world. We want Jacob Rupp in the world. We want you in the world. Y-O-U. So one of the strategies is, and you'll see it, and then you'll hear me explain it for 3, 4, 5 minutes. Choice, not chance, determines my destiny. Well, wait a minute. If that's true, what you just said, Jacob, thank you. If I choose to be unhappy, okay, I'm choosing. I'm unhappy. But I'm choosing that. Well, at some point, you're going to say, wait a minute, if I could choose that, can I choose the cupcake too? Yes. Oh, I like cupcakes. I'm going to choose cupcake. Oh, I choose to be this way. So when you start recognizing that you have the ability, remember, positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant. When you touch those 4 Ps, and I have takes 94 seconds, by the way. There's a great video of me on my site, 94 seconds. I can show you how to get into that space. So another one of the strategies, since we're working in this mode, is this one. Now everybody can read it, I hope. S-M-I-L-E, and they're scratching their head. Wait a minute, that's a smile. Yeah, smile. Okay, smile is a great thing, but smile is an acronym. In my world, the world of joy, we work with acronyms, 3 principles in life. Number 1, life. Your life has purpose. The corollary to that is you can go mad. Go mad means go make a difference. And the third part is you can unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. When you do that, you're beginning to start neuro-linguistic programming of thinking positively, purposefully, powerfully, pleasantly. So what does SMILE stand for? Oh my, seeing miracles in life every day. What? Seeing miracles in life every day? Now, Jacob, invariably, whether I'm speaking to 50 people in an audience or 5,000, which I did recently, invariably people raise their hand or come up afterwards and say, hey, Barry, sure, I've been up for hours but I haven't seen any miracles. What do I say? Are you here? Can you hear? Can you see? Do you have water to drink? Do you have food to eat? Do you have a place to live? Do you have family? Do you have friends? Most of the time, the answer is yes. I said, 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. 1 million people around the world died for years. Hear this, for years. I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. For me, every morning now, because everybody knows, I was a quadriplegic. Every morning, I can get out of bed. Now, I don't get out of bed like you do. Open your eyes, you sing joy, your wife says, stop it. And you get up out of bed, you jump up, you go do it. Okay, it takes me minutes to just turn and put my feet and push and get, hello? I can get out of bed. Seeing miracles in life every day is a mindset. When your mind and your eyes and your heart and your deeds and your words are oriented that way, guess what happens? You begin to see miracles in life every day. I got to tell you a funny story. I have an 8-year-old niece who said to me, Uncle Barry, can I spell it S-M-I-E-L? Does that also spell smile? I said, yeah, why not? It still sounds the same, right? Smile or smile. Because she said, I like seeing miracles in everyday life. Seeing miracles in an 8-year-old. Oh, I love it. So here you have 2 parts of the 11 strategies for living in joy daily. And you said them, Jacob. It was the idea, we put it into one sentence. Choice, not chance, determines my destiny. And smile. The acronym, learning to see miracles in life every day, or learning to see miracles in everyday life. But seeing them, you hear me?
I hear.
Water to drink. Thank you. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Yes?
Then the flip side is if and it's a topic that I find fascinating, is that ultimately and this is one of the things that for me personally and for a lot of the people that I speak to, it's like if a person does opt for or make the choice, again, if it comes down to that awkward moment when you're like, okay, well, I'm going to choose whether or not to be, joyous or negative. If I'm making that choice, so many people are then choosing to be negative or to see the bad in different people, or to not be happy with their job, or to stress out over, again, it's like, to a certain extent, I don't know which part, like biological, but then there is an element of choice. You look at, you don't necessarily see, again, a lot of people might see a problem in the world and see, get depressed and frustrated. Other people might see, well, that's a great opportunity. I could do something here. So what is it? Why would anybody choose to be unhappy or depressed or frustrated or feel like constrained?
Such an important discussion we're having. This touches the very essence of who we are, our humanity. One of the 11 strategies is get uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable. So you ask me, why would anybody choose to be unhappy? Or we'll call negative and something like that. You mentioned previously that when people look around, it's like being in a hospital. They tend to see all that. Well, that's quotations, normal life. Okay, fine, I can be, okay, I got happy. My team won, or this happened. But those are momentary things. But the general mood is, because the word mood, by the way, read backwards is doom. If you let mood run your world, you're living in doom, in gloom. Okay, so put that over here. I say, get uncomfortable. You know what comfort is? It's a place where dreams go to die. Everybody has dreams. People get married. If you ask a husband and wife, husband and Kala, man and woman, I don't even care if it's a man and woman and woman. People are going to get married together. What are their dreams for now and for the future? They will probably tell you, well, I hope that I'll be sad tomorrow and we'll lose our house and the car will break down. And no, nobody talks like that. And the dreams are all about balloons popping and champagne and fun. By the way, fun is one of my most favorite 4-letter FU words. I do use 4-letter FU words. And it is. And why do I do it? Because it jars people. It makes them uncomfortable. So I like using an FU word, 4 letters. And it's fun. Oh, there it is right now. FUNN, Jacob. Imagine me saying to a rabbi, FU. FU, capital N, capital N. So people say, well, Barry, sure, that's only 4. There's only 3 letters in fun. Not in my world. You see what we just did? Fun. It makes people uncomfortable, by the way. So what is comfort? It's where you go, dreams go to die. Because what happens is uncomfortable is here. So watch this, Jacob. Get out of bed in the morning. You do your routine. Let's keep it that way. You walk out your front door. Now, normally you're going to turn left. I'm just making this up. You go down the stairs, or if you have stairs, you turn left. Being uncomfortable means today I'm going to go out my front door and turn right. What? I'm turning right. You know why? It's going to take me long. I have to turn left anyway because the car is over there. I'm going to turn right now because what I did is I engaged my mind and I used my mind to direct what I'm doing. Because we all know that once we get in our car or go in a place, in a routine, you can get to the office or a place and you don't even know how you got there, right? That happens. But if you are aware of what's going on, and you get out of your comfort zone, even for a moment, wait a minute, oh, I'm directing what's going on. And you begin to build on that and get uncomfortable and say, you know something? For the next 10 minutes, I'm just going to smile. That's great, because you made a choice, not chance. Get uncomfortable. Whatever it is that you do in a routine, we all know the famous line. It's either a rut or a groove. You can't tell the difference unless you know who you are, right? If it's a rut, then because you're stuck. But if it's a groove, wow, you're humming, baby. But it could be exactly the same thing. You're walking along the street. How are you walking? Are you walking because you choose to walk on that moment in that particular place? Or not. And getting uncomfortable means working with small things. So one of the things I used to do, I still do it sometimes, is for a month, I would brush my teeth using my left hand. Drooling and such. Now, I happen to use electric toothbrush these days, so it's even a little bit easier, but still it's odd, isn't it? Yeah. But I did it because I want to be uncomfortable, because when I'm doing it now, what am I doing? Well, I'm doing it. Why am I doing it? I'm an idiot. But no, because I'm choosing to do this. And now you recognize that you are in the 4 Ps. Remember, positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant. I'm powerful. I choose what to do. So you can be in a place, you want to put on that nice sweater and eat that comfort food and just sit back and every once in a while, yeah. But learn to get uncomfortable once or twice a day. Wow. It will wow you. People say wow when they hear things like that, right? And wow. Well, wow is a great acronym. It stands for words of wisdom or words of wonder. Because that's what you do when you hear something that sort of jars you. You think, wow. Words of wisdom, words of wonder. Begin to think this way. Neuro-linguistic programming, you start thinking, you start speaking positively, purposely, powerfully, pleasantly. All of a sudden, your actions begin to mimic how you think. And pretty soon, the mood and the doom, oh my gosh, it's bright and sunny, or it's raining, it's snowing, it's a blizzard. So, yeah! How's that?
It's great. I was curious about the methodology in terms of I mean, one of the things that pops out it's interesting because I think it's easy to have the momentary, I mean, inspiration is you can do that. And one of the exciting things about your story is just like how long it took you to get to these minuscule changes. And what we're looking at now is the product of many, many years of work. And it's something that I noticed. It's funny because I noticed it in my coaching, but then I also noticed it in my life, which is usually what I do. Like when I get up and I speak, I thank everyone for coming because it's like my free therapy. I just like talk through the things that are bothering me. But I noticed that, you know, I can have a call, one or two calls with someone and really, I think, make a big shift in their life. But then I feel somewhat overwhelmed because in the follow-up calls, like we're making small incremental changes or we're working through one particular problem. And then me as a coach, I feel like, am I really giving them the value? I feel like I want to, you know, cure cancer tomorrow. And here we're doing a checkup on their health. And then I realized in my own life, it's the same exact thing, which is I am so impatient in terms of the long game of where I want to get to and not enjoying the process. And that's, you know, and it's frustrating. So the direct question is, it's like you start to deploy some of these tactics and these techniques. And I agree that a sense of, you know, you have one healthy week eating and you feel great, but it's like, but you're 80 pounds overweight and it's going to take you like 6 months and you're not going to be happy. 6 months is still aggressive weight loss for 80 pounds, but you know, it's going to take you a long time. So how do you personally work through the long game of staying on this in an ongoing way, even though it's these minuscule changes, practically speaking, that you're making?
First of all, a huge thank you to Jacob. Everybody listening, I'm sure, is leaning in and saying, wow, this could be a beneficial hour I'm investing with Jacob and this guy, Fry and Barry Shore. Okay, I trust that it will be. You mentioned the idea of shift, small incremental movements. Well, the word shift has a letter that most people either don't recognize or they drop it, and it's the F. The F word and shift, the F letter in shift oftentimes gets lost when people think about what they're doing, what's happening in their lives. So it comes the other word instead of shift. Shift happens, but if you lose the F or you don't pronounce it properly, then the other stuff goes on. So you mentioned about, and it's really quite remarkably important. I remember, I'll give two examples. When I was growing up, grew up in a place called Brookline, Massachusetts. Very upscale, wonderful, beautiful place to have lived and been from. I chose to leave because it's in Boston, where it's cold in the winter, hot and humid in the summer, and lots of bugs and such. And I moved to Southern California. I live in Venice Beach. Oh, hello, by the water. We don't have bugs. You want to go to the snow, you go visit it, drive 2 hours. You want to go to the sand, it's, you know,
hurting my feelings right now.
Right. So the important thing is that, so I was growing up, I played tennis a lot when I was younger. And I had some friends who were extremely good. I was okay. I was the backboard for them, but extremely good. And what happened is they had a coach. Happened to be, it was almost out of central casting. It was an older black man who, in those days, couldn't play on the pro turn, but he was that good. And he was a coach, and they hired him. I was able to hire him once, actually twice a month. They had him sometimes 3 times a week. But the point is that in coaching in tennis, so the way you hold the racket makes a difference. When he shifted my grip, it changed my game. Now, did I shift my grip immediately? Yeah, thank you. That was just so good. His name was Andre. That was great. I had to do it 100, 200, 300, 400 times. And then, wow, and once it got in there, did it stay? No, it took more time. But that's okay, because my game was improving. And I was enjoying the results of the small, just holding the racket differently. Now, there are obviously many other things that he taught me too, which I began to process. And so time became almost irrelevant because I was enjoying what was happening. So if somebody is 80 pounds that they want to shed, and you never want to use the term lose, because losing is not part of a good mindset. You're a winner. Okay, so I have 80 pounds that are going to go someplace else. But if you enjoy the process of saying, I only have 79 pounds that I want to shift someplace, right? Not the other word, I want to shift. Then time becomes this, ready? Thoughtful insights meaningfully expressed. Thoughtful insights meaningfully expressed. So with time, I mentioned to you that over the course of years in aquatic therapy, and I'm talking 4 times a week, 3 hours a day of therapy. And in the first year or so, again, I'm a quad. I had 4 people around me just trying to move things on me to stimulate and such. But once I moved my arm over my shoulder, the right one, and then the left one, and they put floaties on me, and I had a floaty on my belly, a big one, floaties on my legs, floaties on my arms, and I looked weird because I had these goggles on because I was in an outdoor pool that to keep the sun off so I wouldn't get blinded in the cap and such. But I could actually move a stroke, and I moved my body. It took me almost a year, a year to swim a mile without stopping. But I did it. Who cares? Because I'm here for the moment. See, the genius of life is to understand that acronym. What does life stand for? Living for eternity. So I am an immortal being, and I'm living for eternity, then one moment is part of eternity. I'm here now. One of the most influential books I ever read, devoured, read again, devoured, internalized, utilized, did everything I could to make it part of me, is a book called Be Here Now. Written, by the way, by a very interesting Jewish person who took a journey. His name was Richard Alpert when he was born, from Newton, Massachusetts. Newton, Massachusetts, right next to Brookline, Massachusetts. So you have this, wonderful, basic Jewish overachiever who went to Harvard, became friends with Timothy Leary, and said, no, I don't want to do the drug route. I want to do another route. And he became a guy named Ram Dass. Mm-hmm. And then Baba Ram Dass. He became one of the most influential gurus in the world. Baba Ram Dass. And then he went back to Ram Dass. And then he went down, just ended up as Das as his name. Now, I always found it very fascinating because we know in Hebrew, Baba means a gate. Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Basra. So it's a gate. And Ram means Rome, Ram, to raise up, right? And Das, you speak Ashkenaz, Das means knowledge. So I always laughed because I actually met Richard Alpert when he was becoming Baba Ram Dass in the basement of a church in Boston, Massachusetts. I can still remember. And he was just at the time he was beginning to wear white robes, but he was still transitioning from Richard Alpert and Timothy Leary fame into Baba Ram Dass. But he was just speaking about what he authored later, which was Be Here Now. But if you get the book even, just the title, when you can begin to understand that and begin to internalize it and breathe with it like we're doing right now, and understand that every breath is what we call conscious, loving breath. Part of what I do in the morning, before I even go to shul, is I have a little routine where I do 4 conscious, loving breaths. So understand, everybody breathes. If you don't, you're not going to be here. Most people breathe automatically. But if you can consciously breathe, then you're already changing your physiognomy. You hear that, Jacob? You change your physical being with conscious breath. Now, if you make it conscious, loving breath, you're thinking it, you're feeling it, your entire being becomes who you want to be. Remember, choice, not chance, determines your destiny. I want to be angry. Conscious, loving breath. They don't go together. It's oil and water. If you say, hey, I'd like to be really happy. I'd like to live in joy today. And you do that 4 times. Again, go on barryshore.com. Check out the video. It's called 94 Seconds to Reduce Stress. Okay, one last one in terms of acronyms. So stress is, Jacob, because you deal with people all the time. And one of the people you deal with is you. Stress, by the way, is the #1 killer in the United States of America. It's the hub of the circle. All the spokes that come up from stress are things we call heart attacks,
overeating,
depression, anxiety, skin diseases, all of those things, diabetes, obesity. It all comes from stress. So stress is an amazing acronym. You ready? Stomach turning reality, expressing self-sabotage. What? Because if you have stress that's gonna, if you know what's going on in my life, you wouldn't even talk this way, Barry Shore. Don't you know it happens to me? And you can deal with it that way. Stomach turning reality. Something really tough happened. Expressing self-sabotage. How you deal with it? Well, if you deal with it in the sense that it's overwhelming, I can't deal with it. No, that's self-sabotage. Now, you can also stress. Stomach turning reality, enabling self-success. Same issue. I mean, I could give you stories that would curl your toes, put hair on my head, of situations that I find difficult to deal with, and I was a quadriplegic. No offense, but you can't get more tough than that. You're standing up in the morning doing thing, what's happening, and then paralyzed from the neck down. Oh, hello. And doctors telling you you're never going to walk again, and all this. Well, all those things. That's stress. But how you deal with it? Is it self-sabotage or self-success? I chose success. I have a beautiful tan because I swim outdoors, 2 miles a day. Now, if you said to me, do you know, Barry Shore, you're going to be swimming in 12, 13, 14 years? Hello? It's not possible. Is it possible? Well, I went mad. Mad says, go make a difference. Make a difference is I can wear a smile. We can be a conduit of goodness. I choose to be a channel of goodness. I'm a child of God. God loves me. I happen to love God also. We're working on our relationship. You hear that? We're working on our relationship. That's nice. The 3 most important words that anybody can ever use for another human being, and especially themselves. I love you. I love you. And if you're not telling yourself that, you're missing an opportunity. Anybody has a spouse or children, relatives or friends, if you're not expressing, I love you, at least once a day, each one of those people, you're missing an opportunity. Wow.
Yeah. I want to just restate that last point, which I think is so crucial. I mean, there's a lot of crucial stuff, and I can certainly attest from myself that that not having that voice going that says "I love you" is it's a crazy thing that blocks so much of it, that no matter what you achieve, if that voice isn't, if you're not able to say that you love yourself, like, you're just going to keep pushing the bar further and further away from, what like. It's just like, I literally, someone told me yesterday, and, she's a young woman that's built a huge company, and it's so impressive. And she feels like such a failure. And I said, did you ever, I said, so she says, well, I said, so what's going to make you feel successful? She set up another, it's like crazy stuff. And I said, 5 years ago, Was this, did you feel like this? And she said, well, no, 5 years ago, if I could make six figures in my business, I would feel like a success. And now six figure, like she's trying to, millions and millions.
And she does that daily.
No, more. Yeah. And I'm saying,
right.
and she never, and I said, so like, what do you think is going to happen magically when you hit those new numbers, which she'll hit? And she said, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to throw another crazy thing up on the wall, see if you can hit that, and then keep knocking it down. And the saddest thing is, it's like you'll live your whole life never having gotten that thing you could give yourself right now, which is that I love you. It's like, what's stopping you from doing that right now?
Okay. Everybody listening, the reason you listen to Jacob Rupp is because Jacob Rupp is channeling goodness. He is a fountain. By the way, we live in a digital world. Everybody knows that. Don't we say that? It's a digital world today. So I am of age. I'll speak about age in just a moment. Try and remind me if I get off topic, because we can do that. But I want to talk about age. It's very important. But when I was growing up, which is decades ago, we lived in an analog world. So everybody knows the words. What does it mean, analog, digital? So analog is the following, and most people might not even relate to this because they've never seen it. We had something called a television set, which everybody knows today is a TV, but it's all flat screen and and it's digital. But in past decades, a television was a fairly large piece of equipment, usually sitting in a box, fairly large. I mean, really large. It's hard to even imagine. It's probably half the size of a regular dining table. And in the back, so you had a screen, and in the back of the screen were many tubes. You don't even know what a tube looks like, by the way, because you think of a tube as just a piece of metal. But suffice to say, a tube was something, you can look it up online. You do a YouTube and say, YouTube, and ask about tubes in a television. But the point is that there are many, many different tubes. And if one of the tubes went out, and obviously you couldn't get your picture, what you could do is you could test that particular, where they were, what was out, and then go to a store, which was not open 24/7, but you go to a physical place and buy a tube and replace it. And now you could just pull a piece out, put a piece in, and the mechanism would work again. That's called analog, because things worked independently, but they worked together. In a digital world, it doesn't work that way. It's either 1 or 0, because that's what all computers work on, 2 digits, right? 0 or 1, 0, 1, and many different multiplicities. But the point is that if the computer doesn't work, or the iPhone doesn't work, or the device doesn't work, and it's digital, you can't pull a piece out and put one in. You can't repair it. You can repair a screen because that's just a piece of something, but you can't repair the system. It's have to get another one, because but the genius of digital is it can be small, more reliable, but that's digital. It's on or off. Guess what? It happens in humans also. We're digital. Ready? You're either a fountain or a drain. You're either a fountain or a drain. Remember, go back to the 6 words I mentioned before. I have this thing called 36 words that uplift the world and uplift you also. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just like Hanukkah. We're in the midst of Hanukkah now. So these are the candles. The 6 words of that series are: choice, not chance, determines my destiny. Am I a fountain or a drain? Have a nice lady, huge business by anybody's standards. And I'm sure that she's probably physically attractive and really loves people and loves life. Yes. And it's just that there's that little piece that just, that missing tile. Yeah. And by the way, if I found that tile, I'd be happy. Right. Well, the tile is there. See, you're either a fountain or a drain. She doesn't realize it, by the way, and I say it with great love, that she's really a drain. Maybe not to other people, but to herself. She wants to be a fountain. Because when you're a fountain, what happens? Remember I said about Nachal? A fountain is that ever-bubbling brook that brings bounty of blessing to everybody. You become a giver in the world. There's nothing greater in life. We call it the joy of living, and it's all in one word: give. Being a giver being a fountain, well, people say, wait a minute, but you know, if I keep giving like that, people take advantage of me. And okay, very nice. Be a big fountain. Wow. It's the ones who say, well, people take advantage of me. That's a drain mentality. Now, in the fountain world, you really want to be with more fountains and less drainers. And when you find that in your life, and it happens to everybody, including Barry Shore, if you meet a drain and you're a fountain, you want to shift, because otherwise the F is missing in that relationship, right? And you want to shift and you say, fine, that's not for me. I'll have less of that. And I want to work with more fountains, because when you do, guess what? You're bringing more joy to the world. And that's what you want to do. So I want to talk about age just for a moment, because it impinges on everybody. Age is so wonderful. It took me 30 plus years to be able to put this into this capsule form and give it over this way. But everybody lives in 4 ages. You see 4 fingers? Okay. Everybody lives in four ages at the same time. You have a chronological age. You have a biological age. You have a mental age. And you have something I call the SOW. So chronological age is what it is. I am, at this particular point, 71 years on the planet. That's my chronological age. My metabolic age is 48. Been tested. Why? Because I swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. Hello? And I'm a fountain. My mental acuity is 28. I spend a lot of time with 28-year-olds or 20s to 30s. And because I work in the internet, I have, thank God, a channel, barryshore.com, where we have the podcast, we have the 11 strategies for living in joy daily, and it's free. You hear this? Everybody sign up. It's free. Use it. Do it. Great practices, tips, and tools there. So that's I'm 28 when it comes to mental acuity. And my SOW, I'm not a sow, not a pig. But I do sow seeds, SOW, sense of wonder. My sense of wonder is 8. Mm-hmm. I'm an 8-year-old. Remember I told you a story about my niece, my 8-year-old niece? So when she said that, Uncle Barry, can it be SMIEL? Yeah. By the way, in my case, it's MILES, miles. You hear that? Everybody has 4 ages. Jacob, how old are you now? 31?
Thank you. No, 30, 35.
Whatever it is. The point is there's chronological, there's metabolic, there's mental, and then there's your sense of wonder. And you choose how you want to live. If your sense of wonder is stuck somewhere up in 30s or 60s, like a lot of people, then I'm sorry, but that's called hardening of the mind, right? If you're losing your marvels, that's when you get old. Loss of, they used to say losing your marbles. When you lose your marvels, and you don't see miracles in life every day or miracles in everyday life, then you become old. But when you are just chronologically a certain age, wow! And if you're really good at your chronological age, and you put an S in the beginning, not at the end, and you hopefully can become a sage. That's the genius of life. That's a fountain, being a giver.
And for those who are not as versed in the deep Kabbalistic texts as Barry is, this is all ironically, and that's for me such a piece that's so important that's missing from the conversation is that so many people feel like religion is outdated and doesn't speak to them and rules and fear-based tactics and all this kind of stuff. And for anyone that's a little in tune with Jewish spirituality, like you've literally just been like reading off ancient text after ancient text. And
absolutely.
But you could pitch this in whatever. I don't know where young people are nowadays. It's probably Silicon Valley is now, whatever it is. And it sounds like, oh, that's cutting edge. You know what I mean? And it's like 5,000 years old. So it's really fascinating. I want to acknowledge, I guess, 3 things. First of all, this was, I think you're my only repeat guest. Second of all, I think this is now the longest podcast I've ever recorded. And third of all, I feel so profoundly impacted by this conversation that even if I'm the only person that would listen to this, I feel that I gained, it was, I mean, again, all those words for you, but I gained a tremendous amount. And it's, I think speaks to the crucial, the timeless nature of what you're putting out, but also the crucial, I don't know if it's Zig Ziglar or Harvey McKay, whoever we're talking about beforehand, I'm sure this is ancient, but the crucial nature of always maintaining an ongoing connection with people who are saying messages that are good. And it's like not enough just to hear it once or twice, but it consistently connecting back, that's crucial. And even if you're in the industry, so to speak, quote unquote, like I am, it's so important to go back and to be inspired on a consistent basis. So I want to acknowledge you on those three things, in addition to all the amazing other things you do. It sounds like Barry Shore is the place to go visit. Is there anything else that you want to direct our listeners to?
Yes.
Great. Go for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We talked about acronyms, and dear Jacob, I am humbled and honored to be a repeat guest. And God willing, maybe I might even do a trifecta, huh?
Tell me when.
Thank is one of the most important acronyms that you could ever learn. It stands for to harmonize and network kindness. To harmonize and network kindness. The Dalai Lama, also talking about timeless truths, has been quoted as saying, and I've read also, be kind whenever possible. And it's always possible. So, in my humble opinion, if you want to be a human being, a human doer in life, because we talk about action, not just being, but be a human doer, take upon yourself to consciously and conscientiously say thank you 5 times a day. Consciously, conscientiously say thank you 5 times a day. You went into the coffee shop and you ordered your fancy latte for $4.95 and somebody brought it to you, thank you. You go to the coffee shop, you order your $4.95 latte and 5 minutes goes by and, You walk up and say, what happened? They forgot. And then you had to wait another few minutes and they didn't bring it to you. You had to pick it up there. Thank you.
Because you're only paying $4.95 for a latte. That's it.
Right. But thank you again with the same feeling. You're walking out of the store and somebody holds the door open for you. Thank you. You're walking out of the store and somebody slams the door on you. Thank you. You're driving in traffic and you need to get someplace. Somebody cuts you off on the freeway. Thank you. You get up in the middle of the night, you have to do something and you stub your toe on the table and it hurts. You say, thank you. 5 times a day, consciously, conscientiously say thank you. When I first began this decades ago, I would write it down. I use a pencil and a paper. Oh, imagine that. But you put it on your phone, do whatever you want. But consciously, conscientiously, 5 times a day, every single day, for the rest of your life. The woman running the organization, if she does this, she'll find the missing tile. So be kind. Everyone you meet, everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, always. Kind, by the way, stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. With that, I'm going to hold up 2 cards.
I feel like what's next for you is a dictionary to put all of the.
Oh, we have. Wait a minute, Jacob. You know we have this. I'm going to ask you to be a contributor. Thank you. We do acronyms, and I'm urging everybody. It's going to be up on the site, and I'll send you. We have, thank God, more than 120 entries already. But yes, we do. Well, for instance, health. Everybody's concerned about good health, right? Health is helping everyone achieve life through happiness.
Nice, great.
Is that not health?
Awesome.
So, did I tell you today how much I appreciate you? That's very similar to I love you. So you can use the 3 words, I love you, or just say, did I tell you today how much I appreciate you? Now, this is a card. These cards, such as life has a purpose. And on the back, it reads, go mad, go make a difference. Or the great card, keep smiling. And on the back, value of a smile. Go to barryshore.com and you'll see up top, keep smiling, click on that. More than 1.7 million Keep Smiling cards have been given out around the world for free. Now you have to pay postage these days because I have to pay postage, but the cards are free. Order them, get them, give them. That's the key. When you become the fountain, when you become the channel of goodness, when you become the distributor, guess what? Is it selfish? Yeah. Are you helping yourself? Yeah. Are you helping other people? Yeah. There are two kinds of selves. There's the lower self and the higher self. Everybody wants to live in the higher self. What's the higher self? A soul expressing life fully. Isn't that the self you want to be? You're a soul expressing life fully. The lower self is seeking excitement, losing focus. This, that. That's the lower self. The higher self, seek a soul expressing life fully. Order the cards, get them, give them. You can even send them by email, by the way. Go to the site and say, send out a card every day, 2 cards every day. It's free. Free. The cards are free, posted on the email. It's all free. So I urge everybody, go to the site, barryshore.com, sign up, and do the 11 strategies for living in joy daily, free, or your money cheerfully refunded. Do that. And if you really love people, you'll share it with them. And I would urge everybody, this particular interview that we're doing together, listen to it one time. Come back another week, 2 weeks later, listen again. You'll say, oh, wait a minute. And do it a third time. And take notes. Because this is good. Jacob is a conduit. He's a fountain. He's the reason I'm here. And if you like me, great. That's very nice. But he's the reason that these things happen. This is fantastic. Remember, we started out at the beginning, milk. More information, less knowledge. And it's all built on action. Thoughts, words, and deeds. May I give a blessing to everybody before we leave?
Please.
My blessing to everybody. Listen to this. Share it with your family and your friends, and especially, by the way, with people who are not your friends, or people you think aren't your friends. Because when you do that, you build a bridge. You build a bridge, you create more harmony. Create more harmony, you create more joy. And you want to be the best you possible. So my blessing to everybody listening is go forth. Live the blessing. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You ready for a big hug?
Ready. Let's do it.
1, 2, 3.
Awesome.
There you have it, folks, another inspiring episode. If you enjoyed this, I ask you to please share this with your friends and to like us over on Rabbi Rupp through Facebook or on YouTube. And the more that we're able to get these important messages out, the more that we can really make an impact in the world. So I encourage you, please, to stay tuned. We have a ton of amazing speakers coming up, and also to tell your friends about it. Thank you very much.